On May 5th, 2019, my life underwent a radical transformation when I met a man who, in a short time, would become my husband, but also my tormentor. At first, like any love story, everything seemed perfect. I didn't see, I didn't hear, and I didn't understand the truth. And the sign of abuse, kidnapping, and other forms of violence were evident, but I didn't take them seriously. Maybe I ignored them out of a naive desire to believe that this is normal, or maybe because he always told me that I was to blame. I never imagined that I would become a victim of domestic violence, me, the same woman who would not accept anyone raising their voice at her, the one who lived with the conviction that love means respect. And yet, all of a sudden, I was caught in a whirlwind of physical, psychological, verbal, and even sexual violence. I felt trapped, where love and suffering were mixed, and every day became a nightmare I didn't know how to escape. In the midst of this ordeal, however, God listened to me. He answered my prayer, a prayer through which I asked for deliverance, even if the answer didn't come in the way I expected. It was a difficult journey with many sacrifices and moments of excruciating pain, but in every step I learned to be stronger. God showed me that I can face any hardship, that I can overcome any storm, and that I will always emerge victorious even when everything seemed lost. On September 24, 2023, due to the violence I experienced, it was necessary for me to be taken by ambulance from my home. At that time, a temporary protection order had been issued against my husband, and the divorce process was in full swing. During the protection order, my two children and I were housed in a center where, due to poor conditions, I became ill. My immunity decreased significantly, and the physical and psychological traumas caused by the violence from my husband were still fresh and painful. My little girl was only 4 months and 4 days old when I breastfed her for the last time. My little boy, only 2 years and 9 months old, was taken by his father to be supervised while I was in the hospital, and the little girl was admitted to a children's hospital to receive specialized care. I suddenly found myself losing my memories and being forced to undergo a series of medical examinations. At the Department of Neurology, then at the psychiatry hospital where my husband had tried unsuccessfully to have me admitted in the past, and later at the infectious diseases hospital due to a visible infection and also a head injury I received from him on September 4th when he hit my head against the wall and the closet. I remained hospitalized until October 2nd, 2023, a period in which no one visited me. The only person who was there for me was a social worker who had my case in mind and who helped me with the breast pump and the necessities for the hospitalization period. I was eagerly awaiting the day of my discharge, wanting with all my heart to see my children and breastfeed my little girl. Every day I spoke on the phone with my mother-in-law, who, at that time, was taking care of the children, telling me that everything was under control. But the truth would come out later. I learned that at the end of September, my mother-in-law made a request to the Child Protection Services to take my two children into foster care. I only found out about this request on October 2nd, when I was discharged. I went urgently to the protection services, but the person I came into contact with treated me with contempt, raising their voice and refusing to register my request for the reintegration of the children, a request that should have been submitted within a legal deadline for the revocation of the foster care. When I returned home, I had a panic attack due to a painful retort from my mother-in-law. "That's it, mother. You no longer have any rights over the children. You gave up the girl for adoption. You are no longer allowed to see them. The next 5 days were a nightmare. I lost 10 kilos and was forced to live in a warehouse on a mattress at the headquarters of the company I own after my ex-husband changed the lock on the door, blackmailing me to withdraw all complaints and give up the protection order. I didn't give in. I fought for my children, whom I only managed to see for 1 hour a month at the Child Protection Services. In the first visit, the little girl showed signs of violence, but the police refused to go to the Forensic Institute to ascertain them. Instead, they fined me for calling 112. It was only on May 8, 2024, after an intense struggle, that I managed to get my children back, but my real battle was only just beginning when my ex-husband continued to slander me, inventing lies about me, such as that I had tried to commit suicide with the children, or even that I wanted to sell the little girl. In the period 2024-2025, he began to declare that I wanted to sell both children for organs. I have learned in all these years that a mentally ill person who refuses to take their medication can only change for the worse, and living in such a relationship can be a real ordeal, no matter how great the difficulties of life may be. This story is for me a lesson of survival and courage, a journey sprinkled with pain but also with hope. And today, stronger than ever, I am ready to move forward along my children toward a better life.